Hello and welcome to another episode of Staying Power. It is the show that is all about building a better life. And we're so excited to have you join us for this next hour. We're going to pick one thing about building a better life, talk about it, see what comes up for both of us, and we hope that it resonates with you. And we are excited for our first show of 2026. We are really, really happy to still be here, still going, still building resilience. And who's we? JDK Winnikin is me. Across from me is the resilient one herself, the one who last week talked about all the spice of life and inspired me and hopefully inspired all of you because that's how she lives. Ashley Kniebel. Hi, Ashley.
Well, hello.
Welcome to 2026.
We're here.
Yeah, how's it treating you?
So far, so great.
So far, so great?
Yes.
That's good. That's good. I'm happy to hear that. And of course, now everybody's sort of starting to quote unquote get back to normal, right?
We are underway.
Right. We are underway, which is always an interesting experience, isn't it?
It is.
It is. And that's what we're going to talk about today, Ashley, because as fun as the holidays are, and they're an opportunity for lots of different things, for family, celebration, reflection, intention, creating new goals, all those types of things, we inevitably get back to the day in, day out.
Yep.
And what that means,
grind.
right? So all the parties are over, the confetti's dropped, Christmas trees are gone, wrapping papers put back, all those things. Christmas lights have all come down, or are on their way. So I'm thinking we talk today about how do we settle back in without falling flat.
Okay.
Right?
I like that.
Kind of building off of what we talked about last week,
Sure.
right? And it's a quiet shift, isn't it? Right? We get back to work, right? Which feels familiar. I'm sure you're going through that, right? I am as well.
Yep.
You know, the doubts, fears, feelings about the holidays have been replaced by new fears, feelings, and doubts about January or about the new year or about just kind of getting back to life. So I thought we could spend the episode talking about what actually makes change, what makes novelty stick.
Okay.
Right? Because we talked last week really enthusiastically, and I thought, it was a really fun conversation about that spice of life, the excitement, finding that newness and things. But those newness, in order to stick, it has to get out of the novelty phase.
True.
And has to continue. And sometimes that can feel like drudgery. Sometimes it can feel like there's something wrong, right? There's sort of a malaise, right? So I'd like to talk today about why that drop is normal.
Okay.
And why it's actually a welcome thing.
Oh, that would probably be a good thing.
Okay. So why would you say off the top of your head, why would that drop off be a good thing to start with? That drop off that we're all sort of feeling right now. Why might that be a good thing, even if it doesn't feel great in the moment?
I would say if you had some good habits and routines established prior to the giant dopamine rush that the holidays are, because that's kind of what they are. They're very extended. I mean, and that could be dependent on like what kind of holiday you had, if it was a really great one or if it wasn't, but there's a constant like roller coaster that we're going through for a few weeks. And then all of a sudden you come back and you nestle back into your usual, normal, what that looks like. And yes, like you said, it certainly feels like a drop off. Like it's a night and day change all of a sudden. And we know it's coming, but it still happens and we still feel that way. But it gives at least me an opportunity to nestle back into maybe some of the habits and routines that best served me prior, that maybe because of holidays and time off and whatnot, that I had gotten away from them a little bit, stepping back into them, but with a fresher face and perspective than when I last left them.
Because it's been a little while.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Because I might not be getting up at 5 every morning during the holidays.
Right.
you know,
and
things
you
like
not.
that. And doing like my personal development that early in the morning, things like that.
Right.
And there is a part of that can feel kind of good because it's like kind of like putting on a cozy, warm jacket that you know it's going to feel great when you put it on. When you put it back on, you're like, oh yeah, that's right. This is good.
Absolutely. Okay. First of all, I love that answer because it's right from the top of your head, right? It also is so in line with so much of what I think is important for us to talk about with this. Oftentimes, we can equate the loss of excitement with the loss of progress. or the loss of motivation, right? We get excited about the things we want to do in the new year. And then a week or so later, a few weeks later, month later, we're not as excited about it as we were. And we can feel like, okay, that means I'm losing my motivation, or I'm losing the progress I'm making. That is not necessarily true, right? It's not that. And it also, I think, helps to know how this works inside of us, right? Dopamine decreases as novelty fades.
Sure.
Right? We talked last week about how excitement, right? Less cortisol, more dopamine, right? As novelty fades, that drops. This isn't failure. It's not a lack of progress. This is biology. We are not wired to stay in an excited phase all the time. We aren't. Just the same way we're not wired to be happy all the time, to be sad all the time, to be angry all the time. We're not wired to just stay in that state all the time. We are going to have a drop. We actually need it in order for our bodies to regulate. The brain seeks efficiency in the end, right? The novelty is exciting, but the brain wants the body and ourselves, our sense of self, to settle into efficient existence. Now, that repetition, which is often what that is, feels way less exciting than novelty, but it's actually more stable. And when something becomes more stable, we have less cortisol and stress hormones running through us on the regular. We establish something different. It's so important to recognize that the routine, the repetition is not just a normal response, it's the best response to these things. And it's convenient. It's in the middle of winter. Winter is a period of consolidation, right? We're supposed to hunker down. How do you describe it? Nestle. You want to nestle it, and you use the analogy of the jacket. That was perfect, right? That's exactly it. We nestle, we nest, we rest, we reflect. The spring will come, right? It's a good time to be setting those things up, to doing those small habits, making those small changes that we talked about last week, right? And if we frame it that way, the way I just laid out there, as part of our biological makeup and what's actually required for us to follow through on all the things that we want to do in the new year, I think it'll help us not worry so much about our enthusiasm disappearing and what it means, but actually be able to go, okay, I'm actually responding the way that I need to respond. And expansion can follow.
I like that.
Thank you.
I was going to say, I think, to go back to what you said in the very beginning, is that sometimes we can have that strange feeling of like the spark fading because the novelty of the new year has worn off. Right. And I do think that there might be ways that maybe you picked up things during the holiday season that you really enjoyed and you really valued that you can take into next year. You made the comment about like all the Christmas decor comes down, all the happy feeling festivity goes away. And then all of a sudden your house, your office, whatever, looks drab. It looks lackluster because it doesn't have all that aliveness in it. And, you know, that maybe you don't want to leave up Christmas decorations year round, but you can put up little twinkle mood lights. Yeah. You know, you can still do things.
My parents do that.
Yeah.
They have those lights for the winter time. Yeah. Just to put more light in the house.
Yeah. But, you know, and it's still like a little nod to the holidays, but it's still a little bit of that essence that you had then that you can take into the new year to make that still feel a little bit more enjoyable.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't have to be drab. We always know when we come back because you sit down. Everyone has felt this. You wake up and your alarm goes off. You're like, all right, January 5th, whatever the day is, you know, the first day back to work after the holidays. Get your cup of coffee, you drive to work, you're like, oh yeah, traffic. And then you get to the office and you sit down at your desk and you're like, here it is. You feel that pressure resting now on your shoulders of like, I'm at work, I have all these deadlines, I have that, you know, like
it's back.
It all just comes like rumbling back so quickly.
Yep.
And that is not our favorite time. But it's going to happen anyways. Yep. So it's like, what do you do with that?
Yep. It's exactly it. And I think recognizing that as the most effective way for things to go, if you can frame it that way, will go a long way. It's an opportunity to turn these things into something a bit more positive. It doesn't have to be such a downer, right, with those things. I can remember many times where I felt in past years where I had enthusiasm about something to start for the year. And then inevitably, maybe not a week later, but a few weeks later, I realized I hadn't thought about it in a little while, right? Or like other things had caught up or the feeling of excitement about it or commitment had faded a little bit. And I remember thinking, okay, because I've lost that early enthusiasm, this must mean something. And me being me tended to go to things like, oh, it must mean I'm just lazy or I'm too easily distracted or something like that. Excuse me. And I look back at those times now with the knowledge I have now and the experience I have now and go, man, if I would have just cut myself a little bit of a break, right? January is a long month, no matter where you are, right? And one thing I think that we do that I've noticed as a way to, I think, to hopscotch over confronting this reality, right? Excuse me. To hopscotch over this is that we got the end of one holiday and we start getting ready for the next one. It's what I call the department storing of the year. We go by what is the new stuff that is up in the stores, right? We always joke about it at Halloween, right? Soon as Halloween's over, all the Christmas stuff is up.
Yeah.
Soon as Christmas is over, all the Valentine's Day stuff shows up. As soon as that's over, it's St. Patrick's Day. Then it's Easter. Then it's Memorial Day / 4th of July, right? And then suddenly it's Halloween again.
Yeah.
And the cycle continues.
Yes.
It's almost like we just launch ourselves to the next thing that can make us feel differently about the norm rather than accepting and embracing and being excited by the possibility that it's all that stuff in between.
Yeah.
As you talked about so eloquently last week, doing those daily things just a little at a time, taking away all the big things. That's the way we can measure our progress over the course of a year.
Well, you can use those holidays that we jump forward through all the time, that we're looking forward to all the time, as like your benchmarks of like, what can I get done between now and the next holiday? What can I accomplish? What can I change in my life? What can I alter in my life?
Yeah, a little more bite-sized, right?
Yeah.
See, that's a better way to look
about it. As opposed to like
it.
a whole year.
Right. Right, exactly. I just find it so interesting that we always seem to be chasing what's the next thing I'm going to do that's out of my ordinary.
Well, and also we always move the line forward. So it's because we give ourselves like all this slack sometimes. And it's like, oh, didn't make it. Okay, well, by that holiday, I'm going to have this figured out, or I'm going to hit that goal this time by that holiday or whatever the date is. And then you don't. Yeah. And more than likely, you're not. Because you have not set yourself up properly to actually hit it
with the day
by the time you got there.
Right.
Because at some point in your mind, you're like, well, I'm going to think about it enough. And then eventually, if I think about it enough, somehow that's going to become an action that's going to compound to me getting to the goal.
Yeah, as if intention and force of will.
Yeah.
Somehow by osmosis will make it happen.
Right.
Right. It's the equivalent of saying, I want to make sure I feel ripped and cut, by the such and such a time, and then just thinking about it so much instead of going and actually doing it.
It is always a chuckle, and all of my lovely fellow gym people will understand this one, that, there are some of us that have been slogging through the dark days to get to the gym and work out and whatnot. And then when it comes May-ish, possibly June, all of a sudden the gyms are full again because everyone's trying to get really cut
for the
in
summer.
like 2 weeks.
Right, for the summer.
Summer.
Right.
And I'm like, haha, funny. First of all, you're scrolling on the bench that I would like to use, so move aside. For those that are dedicated, we are here to get something done. You're taking selfies for
Stop looking at your phone.
Yeah,
and
like
taking up
do the
bench.
work.
Yes, boy, you and I have pet peeve. Drives me nuts.
Tangent. But, and I'm like, but the people that have been putting in the slog time since January are the ones that look great and feel great and are proud of what they did because they showed up every damn day.
They did the stuff in between. Right? They treated every day in that regard as if it was that day itself was what mattered.
Yes.
And that is what we're talking about. if we spend our time just bridging everything between what's the next event or what's the next thing that's out of my ordinary, we lose the opportunity to make every single day the best that we could make it, right? Even if it doesn't have something super exciting, even if all it is your daily routines. To turn it into the best use of that daily routine that day is a worthwhile goal for any given day. It doesn't just have to always be a prelude to the next thing, right? Or the introduction to the next big story.
Yeah.
You know, as exciting as those can be. Yeah, I have the same pet peeve about that. But I always notice at the gym, in January, they fill up.
Oh, of course they do.
By Valentine's Day, they're pretty much back to where they were.
Yeah.
Right? You know, and again, that has a lot to do with how we tend to frame things, right? And what we tend to expect. And so anyway, I think we have this established where we're going to go, right? Because we have a lot of things to talk about. So when we come back from our first break here on Staying Powered, let's talk about what actually sustains change over time. And I'd love to hear some stuff from you, Ashley, and I'll reciprocate too, of when you've done that. Like when you've realized, oh, okay, if I make this change, I can do it, and what that was like and what got in the way of that, or what motivated that, all that stuff. All right, come on back here on Staying Power. See you in a second.
Talking about guns with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you ask if there are any unlocked guns in the home?
Hey, we're so excited for tonight. Before we come over, though, may I ask if there are any unlocked guns in your home?
Our guns are stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access.
Awesome.
Learn how to have the conversation at agreetoagree.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Are you ready to discover remarkable stories of resilience and cultural connection? This is Diaspora, a show sharing the journeys of first-generation immigrants from the Indian subcontinent now building their lives in North America. Inspiring, insightful, and always engaging, Diaspora offers a unique perspective on the immigrant experience. Join me, Aditya Mehta, my guests, on the Diaspora Show every Wednesday at 2 p.m. right here on KKNW.
Alternative Talk 1150. Talk radio for the body, mind, and soul.
Welcome back to Staying Power. JD here with Ashley. Hi. And we're happy to have you here in our first episode of 2026. And today we're talking about normalizing the dip after the holidays. So I don't think that would be a good title of the episode, but nevertheless, that's what we're talking about. And that is essentially how do we adjust to things getting quote unquote back to normal, the day in, day out, the mundane, that type of thing. And hopefully in the first segment, we illustrated really clearly why there are ways to embrace this, rather than fear it or dread it or make some huge assignment about what it all means coming out of the enthusiasm and excitement and newness of the holidays. So, Ashley, I asked you to think about before the break, so you've had a whole whopping minute to think about it. An example of a time where that has happened with you, right? Where something like enthusiasm disappeared, or you were wondering about something, or a time maybe where you discovered doing that back day in, day out, making each day. You've talked about it before on the show, where you want to make each day work. You want to find something good in it. You want to find something was there a before and after of that? Is there an experience that you've had, something you do now? What came to mind with you when I asked you about that?
There's a couple things. One was an example of, there was one point in time when I did hire an online fitness coach to help me kind of get through a rough patch of things where I'm like, I have enough brains and knowledge to know this, to do this myself, but there is the accountability piece that is great to have with a coach. And obviously a coach can kind of help expedite you with those things. So I am all for getting a coach that is good and sound and understands you. And I had one and it was great. And she was online, which was even better because then I just kind of sent in it was enough accountability for me.
Right.
And it was, I think I had her for 4.5 months and definitely saw a lot of progress. And there was so many times, and this was during COVID, so gyms are closed, so you have to get really creative.
Oh yeah.
And it was an extra challenge to do that, of finding heavy objects instead of dumbbells, right?
Oh yeah.
Because most gyms are closed, and or if they were open, it was very strange little times. It didn't always work and whatever.
Yeah.
And And yet I stuck to it, and I saw like a huge result at the end, and it was worth it. I'm so happy I did it, but my goodness, was it just a drag for so much of it. It was only exciting really when I noticed like, hey, I'm getting stronger, I'm getting leaner, I feel better. That was great. But there was definitely some times where it was like, do I really want to keep doing this? Am I good enough, happy enough with my progress? Do I want to keep going? And this is coming from someone who's like dedicated and loves health and being fit. And
you were dedicated to that before this.
Yeah. And yes,
it wasn't like you were coming to this brand new.
It wasn't my first rodeo with it. This was like, I had already done this before. And it was worth it. But my goodness, like going through that, and just then I would look back and be like, but this is where I started. Don't forget, like, look at what all the day in and the day out is doing for you. And then it felt better and worthwhile. But there was a dip, and it was a long dip to the point that I just kind of put my head down and I'm like, this is what we do, Ashley. When we get up, this is what we do. And I just made it like a non-negotiable. This is part of life. You get up and you wake up, you open your eyeballs and you take a deep breath and you start your day and you make your breakfast and and you also work out. And this is what you do. And it was just a non-negotiable. It was like part of my DNA that I just made it as such. And that's really what got me through, to be honest.
And that took some repetition. Telling yourself that time. 4.5 months? Yeah. So that's about 120, 135 days. Yeah.
That's like not taking, it wasn't like a Monday through Friday and you take the weekend off. It was like an everyday thing.
It was an everyday thing.
It was like a full amount of time. But that was the only thing that really did it, is like, this is what we do.
Yeah, I like that. And the one that comes to mind for me is similar to that. It was when I was about writing my book, writing my novel. I had wanted to do that for a long time. I knew I always wanted to write fiction. I didn't know what I wanted to write, but I finally had this idea. And I remember being in this exact time of year where I had told myself over the holidays, this is the year I'm going to do it. This is the year I'm going to start. And I had the idea. I had done a little bit of kind of creative research on it. And I found myself about a month into the year not doing any of it. And I remember going, what is it? What is this about? And all the negative messaging was following, right? All the dream, but no drive. Sizzle, no steak. All marquee, no movie, right? That kind of thing. All negative judgments of myself. And then I realized, you know what? Maybe if I take myself out of this environment for a short period of time, put myself somewhere where I can just focus on this, maybe that would jumpstart me. It was this idea. So I scraped up a little bit of money, took a couple of days off of the job I had at the time, and I went down to the Oregon coast. And I just booked a place right on the water, just for a couple of days, just myself. And my intention was there. I literally went there with my computer, a couple of books that I wanted reference to, a notebook, and the food that I wanted to have. And I had this big plan that I was going to just write all weekend, blah, 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 write and do all that. And I ended up not writing all weekend, but I found myself writing in moments, sitting down, doing a little bit for a little bit of time, and then moving on. I went and walked on the beach. The weather was terrible, but I still loved it. Walked on the beach in the rain, right? Sat on the balcony. There was a fireplace. I did that for a while. Then I would go back and write, or I would do that. And I suddenly had this realization. Everything I do, whether I'm thinking about what I want to do next, whether I'm reading about it, whether I'm contemplating, whether I'm jotting down notes, whether I'm sitting down and actually writing sentences of narrative, all of that is the process of writing. So if I treated it that way, would I be as hard on myself? And all of a sudden, as soon as I opened up that question, I sat down and started writing a little bit more. And when I got back from this trip, all of a sudden, each day, it was similar to what you just said. Every day, I'm going to touch this. Some way, shape, or form, I'm going to touch this. And I don't necessarily know what that's going to look like each day, but I'm going to touch that. Some days I wrote a sentence. Other days I'm like, oh gosh, I have no idea what to do, but I said I would do this. I have no idea what to do. And all of a sudden I write 4 pages.
Wow.
Yeah. And what happened was over the course of about 6 months, engaging that every day, I suddenly found traction. And before I knew it, I had a couple of chapters done. And I went, okay, do I have everything framed the right way? And all of a sudden the momentum built and a kind of a similar attitude came about. This is what I do. every day I touch this project. That's what I do. How much I'm able to depends. We'll see what happens. It got me started. And by the end of that year, I was well underway. It took me 3 years to write that book, but I was well underway in that first year. And it just started from that. So, it had to become normal, right?
Yes.
And it had to become normal in the context of my own life. And I had to accept that about myself.
Yeah.
Right? Because I was holding myself to a standard that nobody else was holding me to.
I mean, it's kind of funny when you create this idea and this vision of yourself and who you think you're going to be. And then you're like, okay, I want to incorporate this into my life. So when I do that, then I'm going to look like this person. And then we have that vision. We start doing that thing. And then we don't end up there. We end up over there. We're like, well, I don't look like the person I thought I was going to look like. But it's interesting when you do that, because even though you may not look like what you envisioned, you still did the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it's that realization of like, oh, I did it.
Right.
I'm still showing up. This is what it was supposed to be. This is what somebody who practices that, who's a writer, this is what they look like. They don't look like what I envision them to look like.
No.
Studious, writing with,
constant, super disciplined all the time.
Pouring over the paper with the midnight oil burning and, like all the dramatics.
I ended up having those days too, but.
Well,
yeah.
But you know what I mean?
I
Like
do.
we give it this idea and then the reality isn't always a match. And sometimes we get disappointed by that.
Yeah.
But actually, I think and of course it's me. So I get excited and like, oh my gosh, look. When I realize, I'll look back, I'm like, oh, I've been doing this for like a whole month. And I didn't realize it, and I'm like, wow, I really like set time aside and I really did that.
I look back at myself and laugh and chuckle like, oh man, talk about me sweating something for nothing, or like, oh wow, talk about me learning an interesting lesson, because those standards tend to be external ones, right? The external vision of what a writer is supposed to look like is shaped by what? Movies, books, stories, social media. Same thing with working out, right? All those types of things shaped by that, rather than us appreciating the experience of what we've grown into and the uniqueness of that, which is what I try to embrace a lot more. What is looking like a writer? What was that, or what was being a writer like for me? Eventually, it became a larger version of what I just described, ebb and flow. Some days went fast, some days not. I still had to stay alive. I'm not in a position where I can write full-time to make a ton of money, right? Nobody's paying me time to not have a real job and write all the time, at least not yet. So I have to be willing to write for other reasons, right? And do all of that. And then once I found that my days got better, I got better at everything else. The days I was actually writing, I became more efficient. I became more focused, all those things. It became more of its own reward to do that.
Right. I have experienced things like that too, where you make a decision and it's only for you. It is not something that you do to benefit anybody else but you, because it's something for you. It feels good, or it satisfies something, or you feel proud of yourself for doing it. And with things like that, it's like, even if you had a long day, even if you are tired, or, whatever happened, and normal reasons and excuses would come up and you're like, oh, just not today. Yeah. But if you're doing something that's solely for you, that you're really sold on and you feel deep down is right, you'll find the energy for it. You'll find the time for it.
And everything else the time will find it as well. Everything else you have to do will adjust to that.
Yes.
Yes.
It really will. And I think some people may not believe that, but I would challenge that they haven't done something for themselves yet to know that.
Yeah, or at least framing it that way, right? That's the thing. I've said many times on the show before, I never consider the amount of time I spend cooking something to be wasted time. I never do. And yet everything else I need to do, I find the time to do it, right? Those things settle in. It was the same thing when I was writing my book, right? All the other things I needed to get done got done, right? I mean, we can find ways to do that. I think that's a really important point you've just made, because I know this isn't a word, but regularizing these things, right? And it sounds similar to regulation, but that's what we're talking about, right? Regulation eventually takes over from motivation. And motivation has to lead into regulation, which means it's going to feel mundane sometimes. It's going to feel like it's just the thing you do. But like you said last week, if you can find the thing you like in that each day, even if that thing is, this is what I do, and I'm reaffirming that part of me every single day, that's motivates that. That's creating a system. And that system of doing that every day takes over for willpower.
Yeah.
Right? Which is why in anything, if you're trying to win over something on willpower every single day, you're not going to win. You have to turn it into something that's regularized. I know it's not a word, but I used it twice. So
I'm here for it. I made up plenty of words in 2025, so it is your turn.
Yeah. Well, consistency, right? In the end. And consistency then reinforces discipline, right? Not the other way around, right? So I like that part. Anyway.
Nice.
Good stuff. Speaking of those things, right? We've had a week now on our own commitments.
Are we going to check in?
Yeah, we need to check. This is as good a time as any. How are we doing? Just to remind you, if you did not listen to last week's episode, Ashley and I decided to put our money where our mouth is in 2026, and it's 10 years off, 2026, by kind of pushing ourselves to do a new thing. And myself, I committed to introducing myself to a new person every single day of the year. Ashley, remind everybody what you committed to.
I chose to learn a new language and spending roughly an hour, which breaks down, I'll say, about 10 to 15 minutes a day.
So even a little more than that.
Yeah, give or take. Minimum of an hour per week of learning a new language.
And it's Spanish.
Yes, I chose Spanish.
Okay, so let's check in on that because we said we would.
Yes.
Ashley, you go first.
Okay, well, I'm not going to speak in Spanish because I'm not there yet. But I certainly have spent some time studying the language and practicing. And my assistant, like I said last episode, is fluent in Spanish. So it's been really fun because there's certain things I've had her do where I'm like, okay, if I don't ask this in Spanish, or if I don't say this in Spanish, or I don't say some of it because I'm still like so new to it, but if I don't use Spanish in there at all, you're not allowed to respond.
Oh.
So I have to prompt her somehow to, like, if I'm asking her a question, I have to use Spanish in it somehow.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Because I'm like, I have to, like, the best way to utilize something you're learning is practicing it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so practice what I'm preaching to
myself. So you have to like look up what words are for various things?
I have, like I said, I doesn't have to ask the whole thing. So if I can start to ask like who, or, very basic.
¿Dónde está?
Yeah. Like, then she can respond back to me.
Got it.
Which I ask her a lot of stuff throughout the day. So it's great and frustrating at the same time.
That's going to build up though over time. It'll be interesting what you say in a month with that, right? And then of course you're going to learn what the Spanish word is for everything in your office. And all that.
Probably.
And the article, is it L or is it la? Right? All that. Okay. So it's going.
It's going.
Okay.
It's been really rough. But
it's been really rough?
It's just like bumpy,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I can relate.
Fun.
I can relate to bumpy. That, you'd said to me when I told you what I was going to do, is like, wow, that's a commitment, meeting a new person every day. And it is, and meaning introducing myself, and it does not count if someone introduces themselves to me.
Okay.
So I have to introduce myself to somebody. And it's been interesting. I've done it, but the idea of being intentional about it creates a different dynamic.
Yeah.
Because everywhere I go is possible. It could be somebody. Right?
Yeah.
And so who do I want it to be? The very act of being out there aware that I'm going to do this, who do I want it to be? How do I want to evaluate that? Do I just trust that a moment will happen in front of me where I go, yep, this is the person to introduce myself to? Or is it somebody that I seek out? And then why am I seeking them out? Is another question.
So interesting.
It's very interesting.
You know what? This is like, I feel like people who want to get back in the dating world, like get off the apps and do what JD's doing.
There is something to be said about that if you can do it, and not because that's what I've been pursuing.
No, but the act of like getting comfortable introducing yourself to somebody you don't know and learning how to conversate with people you don't know.
Yeah.
It's such a great skill.
Yeah. Yeah. It's actually proven interesting in the sense of not just because it's changed how I'm interacting or how I'm viewing my day, just going from point A to point B, but also the reactions have been interesting. Reactions have been very interesting.
Well received.
Yes. Surprised, every single one.
Yeah.
Because this doesn't happen.
Sure.
People don't introduce themselves very much anymore, right? Now, people will say in interactions, how's your day going, right? You know, what's new today, right? Or that kind of thing. So that kind of stuff happens quite a bit. But introducing yourself by name, saying, and this is the thing, I don't want to take a shortcut of saying, what's your name? Because then they have to introduce themselves to me. I actually have to take the step of introducing myself, which I didn't realize was different for me, that I didn't know how to do. Because I know how to ask somebody, hey, what's your name?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm JD. Nice to meet you. That's an easy way. It puts them on the spot. I'm like, no, I'm got to be the one taking the initiative.
Say it first.
I'm the one who's got to say it first. And that has been its own challenge, or it's not a challenge. I've just noticed how different that focus is. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how it goes. But it's been well received, but almost without exception, a surprise.
All right.
So
love it.
I know.
Love
Good
the
stuff,
update.
right? Okay. All right. Perfect timing for our next break. So let's go ahead and do that. And when we come back, Ashley and I will do our weekly segment where we talk about something that's happened over the last week and that we share about it, all in the name of vulnerability and connection. This week it is 2 Minutes of Terror. So come back for that here on Staying Power.
Imagine home. The smell of coffee, the sound of a lawnmower, the sun's warmth on your face. Free to be yourself, surrounded by love that helps you grow. This is a place to call home. That's an American dream we all deserve. But in 50% of U.S. states, you could legally be denied housing if you are LGBTQ+. Get the facts and hear real stories at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm Chris Erdman. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW, I sit down with inspiring entrepreneurs, creative minds, and game changers to uncover the real stories behind their business. On my show, Made of More, we explore the challenges that they've overcome, the breakthroughs that they've celebrated, and the mindset that drives them forward. If you're ready to unlock your full entrepreneurial potential, Made of More is the show for you, because here we know you are made of more. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW.
Be sure to support the sponsors of your favorite shows on Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back to Staying Power. JD here with Ashley.
Hello.
And we are talking about how to kind of bounce back from the holidays and the importance of kind of normalizing all those things and maximizing each day and not treating it as something that is just kind of mundane all the time, right? Or doesn't have some level of importance. Because that's really where we need to be, right? It's not just a reality. It's actually where we need to be biologically, emotionally, and intellectually. All right. So before we get into practical suggestions, Ashley, let's do our weekly segment. As I said before the break, it is 2 Minutes of Terror. Here we go. Is that the sound of a computer crashing? Is that what it is? Okay.
The sound no one wants to hear.
The sound nobody wants to hear. Talk about terror.
It's like when your dial-up crashes.
Has that ever happened to you where your computer just crashed on you?
Back when I had dial-up.
No, I don't dial-up. I meant your computer crashing. Has that ever happened to you?
Yes.
Is it scary?
Yeah.
Oh, it's horrifying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thankfully, it happened at a younger age where it wasn't like life or death for me.
Right.
It wasn't recent.
Right.
Knock on
Gotcha.
some wood.
Gotcha. Okay, Ashley,
All
your
right.
2 Minutes of Terror for this week.
This is a heavy one.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I had a patient pass away.
Oh,
Yeah.
unexpectedly?
Mm-hmm.
I guess every passing away is unexpected.
I mean,
but-
there's some that you're like, okay, we know this is coming. But yes, I
Oh,
got a call from the wife
oh,
about
wow.
it. And it was a patient that I really enjoyed and thought was, older person. So obviously their time was coming near, but was certainly not expecting that.
Oh, wow.
So it was really, unsettling. And it was an interesting reflection to then think back of like when the last time it was I saw them, to not have any clue that was going to be the last time I saw them.
Yeah, that's always.
So that's
strange.
kind of, it was, I'll be honest, it was not a fun phone call. It was what it was. It's part of life. But it was an interesting, like I said, reflection, because then it kind of also reminded me of like life is good and it's wholesome and we have one. We should enjoy it.
And nothing's guaranteed.
Yeah. Even in the dip of life, the mundane, when you come back from holidays and stuff, like we still have our life. We're still above ground.
Every day we wake up is a win just by itself. Yeah. Wow. I'm really sorry about that. That's hard. That probably hit your office pretty hard too, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bit.
Yeah. Well, oh, sorry about that. Mine sounds relatively small in comparison to that.
Whatever.
I had one of those moments the other night where I felt like everything that could go wrong at the worst possible time all went wrong at the worst possible time.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I've talked about on the show before, I moonlight a couple nights a week as a bartender, and I do enjoy that work. But sometimes that has me coming home really, really early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And the other night, I was coming back and it was storming, and it had been storming for quite a while. It's Northwest weather, right? That's just how it is. And it took me a while to get back because there was a lot of water on the road and, some down trees and things like that. So my stress was already up, right? So I get back, mind you, it's 2:30 in the morning.
Oh, no.
I get back, I open my garage, and my garage is a separate bank of garages at my complex, right? So, it's not attached to the house or anything.
Okay.
So, and it's a single car garage. I pull in and I'm frazzled because I'm tired, right? I'm frazzled because it's raining. I'm having a busy week, and I get out of the car, and still don't know how I did this, but I got out, locked the car, grabbed stuff out of the car, left my keys in the car.
What?
Closed it, and the doors were locked.
So you're like locked in the garage.
I locked myself out of the car, which by itself is not a problem I could address the next day, but my house keys
are in the car.
Are in the car with the car keys.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm like, of course, this is what will happen. But then, for whatever reason, somehow, the garage door wouldn't come down. It's pouring rain. Garage door won't come down, right? And I'm thinking, okay, there must be a problem here. So I notice it's off the track, right? So I fix that. I have to reach over the top of the car, fix that. And so then I'm like, okay. So I close it, still not having solved getting the keys out of the car. So I close the garage door behind me, and I'm standing out there on the other side of the closed garage door with no house keys at 2:30 in the morning going, what did I just do? Why did I close the garage door? Because I still need to get my keys out of the car. So I go to open the garage door again to get back to the problem. The power to the entire bank of garage doors goes out. So suddenly I can't get into the garage, and the garage is open.
Movie?
It was horrible, and I was the only person in this, and I'm looking around going, I hope nobody can see this.
Oh my goodness!
But yeah, so I had to force open the door.
Oh.
To get back in there.
Ooh.
And so I'm trying to think about, okay, how can I do this? How can I do this? Well, it's a newer car, so I'm still learning all the things. But I actually learned I figured out there's a way to open the car door.
Okay.
So I figured that out and got it. But by that time, it had taken 15 minutes. It's in the middle of the night. The power is out in the garage. So I'm wondering, is the power out at home? It was just a comedy of errors.
This is reminding me of, I don't remember which episode it was. It was probably about a month or two ago now, where you were telling that story where you like left the house and you left your phone inside or something.
Yeah.
So then you go back in and then you leave and then you forgot your keys.
Yeah.
So you go back inside
Yeah.
and then you
Yep.
you kept losing your stuff
Kept
everywhere.
losing my stuff. And yeah, it was bananas. It was just bananas. So anyway, it wasn't so much terror as it was just, okay, what am I going to do? And if I had to, I don't know where I was going to sleep. Like,
Right.
I was like, it was.
I mean, well, that's the point of these segments is we call it a terror, but it's not like a scary thing.
Not necessarily, yeah.
It's like a vulnerable moment or a difficult moment or a hard moment. It is a moment of vulnerability to let other people know that you're normal like we are.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're normal like you are. I mean, it's kind of those things. Yeah, so by the time I got back in the house,
I hope you slept really well that night.
It did, but it was 3 a.m. by the time I got back in. And
you're like, wow, the sun's going to come out.
Oh, man. I actually thought about staying up and just going to the gym. It opened at 5, but I decided that wouldn't be the best idea. So anyway, we'll see. Okay. All right. So back to
that was funny.
Yeah. It was wild. Thing. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So in the last segment today, what are some practical things that we could call, that we would suggest, right,
Okay.
from our experience as coaches and, based on things that we know work. What are things that people can do to settle in a little bit more to what is now kind of coming down off of the holidays and making each day count and recognizing that it's actually an asset, that it's actually required for us, for our health and for our growth to get back into a routine and, kind of what's expected, right? Rather than anything else. So what are some things that come to mind for you or things you use?
I use, I do actually like one in particular, and you can use it kind of at any time, but it's like the idea of returning, not restarting, because I feel like there's a lot of pressure and whatnot in a restart, because it gives the idea of like the first time was a failure, so we're try again.
Yeah.
And if you're just returning to something, you're just picking up where you left off. Like the progress you did before is not lost.
Right.
Whereas in a restart, it feels like you got to forget everything else you did and you're starting all over from scratch. And, you're like getting out of jail and starting at go again. Like, no.
Right.
But returning to whatever it is, returning back to work, or if, you had your habit and your routine you were building and something happened and you had a few days where you couldn't do it and it's like, I'm just going to throw it all away. No. Return to it.
Yeah.
It's waiting there for you.
I love that. You know what comes to mind for me? Something that I share with younger clients or clients that are gamers, and I have a lot of young men who love to game, and it's a thing for that. And that often gets such a bad rap, right? Because people can lose themselves in it for a long time. And it can certainly be that, right? It can be something where people escape from reality or from real, genuine one-on-one connection through that. At the same time, what's interesting is if we think about a game that we love, when you run out of lives, right? You don't go back to the beginning of the game. You go back to the level you were on.
Yeah.
You start again, right? And you start again. And then you learn from the last time, right? You learn where all the hazards are. You learn when to jump, when to duck, right? When to shoot, when not to. You learn all that. And then, of course, you have opportunities and you keep coming back and you start again. And even if you, quote unquote, run out of lives, you just reboot the game and start where you left off. And we have that expectation. And people who are gamers love that challenge, right?
Yeah.
They love that. That's what drives them. And yet, somehow, they won't apply that to their own life as an expectation. Whereas if we treated life like that, like, okay, I don't have to go back to the beginning, but I can learn from what I just experienced and do things differently. If we approach things that way, it allows ourselves to give ourselves some grace. We're returning maybe to the beginning of the level, but we're not restarting. And everything we've learned has not suddenly been lost. I love that.
I do like
so if we can open ourselves up to that a little bit more, I think that would be good. Another one too, then this I think is important. If you're having a hard day, lower the bar.
Yeah.
Lower the bar, right? Some days suck. Some days are terrible. And some days they start off really well and then they suddenly go sideways, right? To use your example, the day you had before you got that phone call that you shared about 2 Minutes of Terror, the day you had before that was different than the day after that, I'm willing to guess, right? That's what happens. Lower the bar on hard days. If you have these things that you want to do or how you want to show up and the day's hard, find something a little bit less than that. Still show up. If your commitment is to walk 20 minutes a day, but you're exhausted, get outside for 5.
Right.
And then return, right? Building off what you said.
Well,
return the next day.
That is so important. I really, really like that one, actually, because some people would call it a failure if they lower the bar, or like it doesn't count if I lowered the bar. But what counts is you're still showing up.
Yep.
You're still putting in the work. The effort is still going there. It may not go the duration as to what you had originally anticipated, but to give yourself enough grace and understanding that, like, hey, this was hard. I'm not being lazy. I'm not skirting out on my commitments and things that I decided was going to do. It's just giving yourself that connection that you would give somebody else.
Yeah. Right.
If you heard your friend was going through such a rough day and you'd be like, I totally get it.
Yep.
Like, take a little extra time for yourself, or whatever comforting, supportive advice you would give them. You can give that to yourself, but still, like, showing up, like you said, do 5 minutes instead of 20.
Yeah. can lower the bar a little bit. And that's self-awareness.
Yeah.
And if you're taking actions based on your values, and one of the things you're realizing is, I will be better living by my values if I lower the bar for what I said I was going to do today in the name of raising what I need somewhere else that's important to me.
Yeah.
So be it.
Yeah.
That's living life on life's terms, because we can't anticipate every single thing, right? And I get really tired of those really aggressive commentators that always say, mind over matter, mind over matter, mind over matter, right? Get your mindset right. I understand that's well-intentioned. But the idea of doing that at the expense of your own emotional health, mental health, physical health is not a good idea on any level. And I've yet to see anybody spouting that who's ever been able to sustain that, right? So I think that's a big one. All right. So what else?
I would say that it's a frame that I would use is that I am practicing, I'm not proving.
Oh.
Because as you're building something and you're creating, and I do understand that there's the whole idea, you got to prove to yourself that you can do it. If I show up and I'm practicing something, that is the proof. Proof is in the pudding, whatever that phrase is.
It is.
But that's where the proof is showing up and doing the thing.
Yep.
And it takes a pressure off of yourself, because life kind of is hard sometimes.
It is.
Even in the easy days, there's still things that come up that can be stressful, and just giving yourself that reframe of like, I'm practicing. I'm just putting in the effort, and the repetition and the reps matter, because the reps is where the growth comes from, instead of having to prove to yourself. Because if you have to prove to yourself, it means you don't believe yourself in the first place. So then why are you even doing it? If you already know that you're not going to do it, so you have to prove to yourself that you can do it, then go home.
Yep. It's like I said about belief before, right? Belief has the word lie in the middle of it, right?
Exactly.
Do it and see what happens, right? Yep. Yeah, you're right. Because in the end, coming down to the end here of this episode, everything we're talking about, right, is we have more days in the year that are not inherently celebratory. They're just days, right? And it's that time coming off of those big celebration days where we really are needing to get back to that. It's quiet, it's steady, and the things we want are built through those actions on the days where no one's celebrating anything. And they're built through actions that not a whole lot of people are going to see, right? They say character is, what you do is established by what you do when no one's looking, right? These types of things are made by no one watching, right? No one celebrating, but continuing to show up. That's what turns momentum into lasting change. All right. Ashley, thanks so much.
Thank you. This was a great topic.
Yeah, it turned out really well. Thank you so much for all that you shared. And thank you so much to all of you for listening or watching this episode of Staying Power. Remember, if you missed any of this, you can get Staying Power as a podcast wherever you get your podcasts. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can watch these episodes instead. You can also find out more about us at our radio home, 1150 AM KKNW in Seattle. And in all those locations, we have information on how you can find us on social media, and you can reach out to us at stayingpowershow@gmail.com. We also have some new stuff coming up soon, different ways to contact us, and we're excited to share those with you in the coming weeks. We hope to hear from you. We will be back next week with another episode on how to continue to build a better life, and looking forward to seeing you then. I am JDK Winnigan.
And I am Ashley.
And we will see you next time. Thanks.